welcome, everybody to Sing Stars. This is the last Sing Stars of 2023. So we got one little review. That's ROH final battle. We're gonna go over the matches, and then we have a lot of previewing because when we come back at the top of 2024, we will be doing a lot of reviewing on that first episode. Okay, so how you doing this morning, my good brother J News?
I am. I don't know. I think that the term is cautiously optimistic. I got to get on a plane tomorrow morning. I got to do some cleaning up around here before I leave, and just trying to get into the spirit of what is this holiday season.
Listen, you can feel the spirit. It'll come to you, and at the end, we'll say, "Well, we hope for this indie wrestling coming up for the new year." I have a few hopes, and then our good brother Jay News says I started it with the spotlight. He's going to end the year with his spotlight. We'll talk about that in a minute.
Indeed, indeed.
Hey, ARW. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna review ROH Final Battle, ladies and gentlemen. It was good. If you did not see it, go back and watch it. I have my few good tweets. First of all, ROH is a brand. I love it. Too many matches.
Hmm.
Too many matches. Also, even with you'll notice with the pre-show, it was too many matches. That's my only thing. Like too much. Like you feel like you gotta jam pack everything into this small. It's like a clown car. You gotta just pack everything in there. When you, if you just keep it to a few matches, it'll be great. So for our final battle, 0 hour, we had Ty Valkyrie defeating Jasmine Allure. The Von Erichs, Marshall Von Erich and Ross Von Erich defeated the Outrunners. Since it's the end of the year, I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. The Outrunners on being the Dark Order is hilarious because they always get like this 5 to 10 minute section where they're pumping iron in the gym, and their slogan, J. Luz, is "Get jacked, don't get jacked on." That is their slogan. I,
Hey yo.
I, I, I'm not laughing every time I used to say, ladies and gentlemen, if you catch me on any other time, when I'm ready to review this, I say a pun. But at this point, they've said it so many times, I just cannot help but not just say what they said.
Wow.
So every time I see them, that's the first thing I think about in my head. Is this is their slogan. Cannot.
Wow.
Uh, then we have for the ROH uh, television title Survival of the Fittest 2023. Also, that's a problem with me, Tony Khan. All these long names. Okay, can we just shorten them? Brian Keith defeats Jack Cartwheel. Uh, you'll notice the reason why we're covering this a little bit is because sometimes when Under the Radar can't, it's because they incorporate a lot of the indie wrestlers into ROH, AEW, all these types of things. We had for the last match of the 0 hour, Daniel Garcia defeating Blake Christian. As you all know, Blake Christian is the GCW champion. We go on to the actual final battle pay per view for the AAA mega title. El Hijo del Vikingo defeated Black Taurus. And that's what I expected. And if anything else had happened, I would have been disappointed. For the vacant, oh no, for the six-man tag, the Mogul Embassy, they finally won something, J News. They defeated TMDK, not in New Japan, but on ROH. You know, a win is a win. We had I quit match where Ethan Page defeated Tony Nese. Uh, Nala Rose defeated Vert Vixen. We had for the vacant. ROH World Television title. We had Kyle Fletcher win, defeating Brian Keith, Dawson Castle, Commander Lee Johnson, and Lee Moriarty. So he is now your champion, which shocked me.
There's too many
Not
Lees in AEW ROH. It's too many Lees.
it should just be like Moriarty or something. It should have like a name change or something. We had Willa Yuta defeat Tom Lawler doing the Lord's work. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, I don't necessarily like Willa Yuta. It's something about when he opens his mouth, and J News said the boys don't mess the body. Them two don't mix together. Uh, in a pure title match, which it was pretty good. For the fight to honor Jay Briscoe 6-man tag match, Blackpool Combat Club and FTR went to a double counter.
Hmm.
But the winner was us because we got to see all of it. Then we had a proving ground match with Eddie Kingston defeating Anthony Henry. And then the match of the night. For the ROH Women's title, Athena kept her title by defeating Billy Stark. That was a good match. Listen, I
Big
don't know
Billy
why I can't see
Starks.
this every week.
Big Billy Starks deserves all the praise in the world for what she's been able to do in this calendar year. Athena Palmer, as ALW knows, I will reveal it here. But I gave ALW my female wrestler of the year. Athena Palmer is my female wrestler of the year. That man, listen, ain't nobody been better in this in the sphere of professional wrestling to me than her, and what she's been able to accomplish in 2023. How funny she is, how versatile she is, just how good she is in the ring. Opportunity, man. When you give somebody an opportunity to run with something that they creatively have their hands in and they're invested in, they go pretty far, man. And props
Yeah,
to TK for giving her that opportunity. Athena and Billy Starks both. To piggyback off of something that ALW said in the comments here, it was so good to see the Von Erichs back in wrestling. Man, let me say something, man. I'm not even as old as certain people on the planet, but I did grow up watching a lot of what's the term I wanted to use? Syndicated WCCW in my early years. A lot of what ESPN and ESPN2 used to show in the early 90s was a lot of the WCCW reruns. And I basically grew up on the Von Erichs, even though it was like 10 years after the fact. So to see the family back, especially Kevin's boys wrestling on any major promotion was great. They're being honored in Texas. It was the week of the Iron Claw movie release, so they were all over AEW TV. Short review from me here because I saw the movie last Wednesday. It's if you lived through the era of the Von Erichs, it's as tragic as you probably remember. So that being said about the movie, it was a very good movie. I would recommend it for those who are of that particular era and are wrestling fans as well, and for non-wrestling fans as well, if they want to get a terrific performance out of Zac Efron and they want to consider him a great actor, that's the movie. That's the movie. So I wanted to take a piggyback off of that.
I like the subtle shade Jay News just gave when he says if they want to consider him a great actor.
Yeah, if they want to consider him a great actor. Look, at the end of the day, a lot of folks have their issues with Zac Efron.
Yeah,
So
I do because
at the
it's
end of the
like
day,
even in the rom com movies, he was just like ha ha ha, and it's like no, I need you to flow. I need you to be like back and forth. I need to feel it. Whereas like I feel like I'm watching a robot give me
no,
acting, and
it,
that's not
it's
what I
it's
want.
it's it's interesting because he you feel everything from beginning to end on that movie. And it's just, you know, at the end of the day, it's the holiday season. People don't want to feel sad, but like, you know, for him to take on that role and for him to do the kind of job that he did, in my opinion, what was terrific
Yeah.
in that movie, The Iron Claw. And to also get onto that fight without honor, that 6-man tag that we got from
Mm.
them top guys and against the BCC. You know, I think that they're owed and their homage to be paid to Jay Briscoe was yet again another one of those things that I think can live in people's imaginations and hearts for a long period of time. I think those guys did a terrific job of honoring Jay and basically giving the fans a fight without honor that they deserved out in Garland, Texas. So the ROH show, Final Battle for the year of 2023 was a good one, but to Dolores's point, it was pretty long, 5 hours and 15 minutes, I believe, or something to that accord.
It's
Uh,
like he feels like he even on a week to week basis. I normally put in the banners for under the radar.
mhm.
I have to put in like 20 matches. And I used to consistently watch ROH, and that's like I feel like I gotta pack a lunch to be there all day, and I don't want to do that.
I feel you. I hear you. I mean, man, listen, I think 5 hour wrestling shows are just too much, anyways. To everyone's point, I say the same thing about New Japan shows, obviously WWE shows. Like at least WWE cuts it down. Like the 5 hour shows are just like the big four nowadays. But
Yeah,
yeah, man, people need to understand that 5 hours is a bit too much. One, to be watching on TV, and then secondarily to be in a freaking arena. So Tony Khan,
yeah.
start splitting up your freaking nights, man. This is it's getting to be a little ridiculous. It's not conducive to the fans. I can care less about how many matches you want to get into one night. Just so that the wrestlers don't get burned out. Like figure out the schedule a little bit better. Because I'll be damned, man. 5 hours, dog. 5 hours is a lot. It's a lot, man.
And you have to remember Brian Keith wrestled twice. Okay? So like that's wear and tear on the body on top of it. But ladies and gentlemen, we're getting to my favorite part. It's the preview. Because you're gonna see me come back in the new year sad with all the reviews that I have to do. But we're gonna preview, and that some shows didn't have a complete list. Some shows had some of the list. So we're gonna do the best we can with what we have. And as we know with GCW and New Japan, they will switch it up on you quick. So we're gonna start with New Japan, the road to the new beginning, ladies and gentlemen. Night one starts on the 23rd. We have Masked Horse. Yes, they have a name now.
Yes.
Masked Horse, which is Taguchi, and Masked Bolton, which is Oleg Bolton,
Mm.
versus Tiger Mask and Toriano. Why they just couldn't be Masked Horse Bolton? I didn't understand that. And you know what? I'm not even gonna say nothing about that. Youngblood, which is Oscar Libre and Nakashima versus TMDK, which is Kosei Fujita and Zack Sabre Jr. Ladies and gentlemen, I must say, if you did not see it's the Osprey gay kid match. It's great. It's great. Even like the little mini build up with him attacking him. Great.
Oh, that wasn't
Uh,
the only part of the build-up. Dolores, that wasn't the only part.
I listen.
I'll explain.
That
I'll explain when I
that
get to the
I like
spotlight.
I like the viral stuff because I'm not gonna search for things. If it comes up on my feed, great. I wasn't even gonna pay attention to that match until he attacked him, and I was like, I got to watch this match. Listen, I'm the kind of person now. I watch so much wrestling. United Empire, Newman, Akira, and TJP versus Bullet Club War Dogs of Clark Connor, Drilla Maloney, and Gator. I mean, we got two losers on each team, so I don't know who to pick. Uh, Master Wada, Shota Umuna, Homna, versus House of Torture. Evil, Renarita, and Shaw. Ooh. We have El Desperado, Kojima versus Los Ingobernables de Japón, which is Takahashi and Shingo Takagi. We have Lij, which is Bushi, Naito, and Yoda Suji versus Just Five Guys, Doki, Sanada, and Yuya Uemura. Listen, I I am not even close to finish this. New Japan World King of Pro Wrestling title match, Tai Chi versus Kanemaru.
Hmm.
We have the never open weight six-man tag title match, Chaos, which consists of Okada and Ishii and Tanahashi versus United Empire, Great Khan, Hanare, and Jeff Cobb. That is just the first night, ladies and gentlemen. Now, do you see anything on that first night you want to see
That I would what?
that you would want to see?
I
It's
mean,
always that one match.
it's gonna be interesting to watch the never open weight 6-man tag team championship match just because of what's going on from a contractual standpoint with Okada right now. So,
Yeah,
um, I mean, if he's gonna be there through the end of January, they'll probably do it at like New Beginning in Sapporo or Osaka where they lose the belts. But
yeah.
feel like they'll be losing those belts soon enough. I don't wish Okada to leave New Japan Pro Wrestling, but if the man can find a bigger bag elsewhere, I, I think that he is going to have.
Listen.
So yeah,
You can get a bag. It's okay. This is the point, and I hate to say this, but you can get a bag and be super safe, or you can get a bag and be less dates, but more potential of injury because you got to go full out to be the star of the show. Is he willing to put his body on the line for that? Like you get to stay home, but you might get injured real quick because a lot of the top stars in AEW have been getting injured a lot, and so
yeah,
it's like it's I think it's more the wear and tear of you doing these I mean they are great matches, but they are like hard hitting,
mhm.
fast paced matches. You
Yeah.
see how it's gonna go.
I mean, at the end of the day, it's he's used to the style, right? Because strong style. At the end of the day, so it's not going to
Yeah,
be anything new to him. The travel does wear on you though, especially for him who's mainly in mainland Japan the majority of the time. So um I don't know. I just maybe Bushi Road coughs up the money and he doesn't have to go anywhere. But I just don't see that happening. And over the weekend, Naito had some very interesting things to say in regards to guys who have bled New Japan the majority of their careers and them going over to he was and I saw this on Twitter and someone made an inference about how Naito was talking about AEW and WWE when Naito was specifically speaking of WWE. Um, and because he mentioned Nakamura by name, and at the end of the day, how New Japan's losing wrestlers to that particular company, and when they go over to that particular company, they turn into they don't have the same level of stardom that they did when they were in New Japan. Um, so
I
it's one of
think
those.
that comes off the fact that WWE has had talks with New Japan, and now I don't know if you saw the press conference they had when they had Shayna
Oh yeah,
Baszler and Nakamura and them over there. It seems like they're wedging on in to kind of try to either you're gonna work with me or you're gonna work against me. And if you work against me, it's not gonna go well for you.
well,
They
I mean,
want the same they want the same thing as AEW. I think that's where I know Saturday we talked about it, where the whole Warner Brothers and WWE thing is.
mhm,
It's like WWE even though they have said in court that they feel like a company that's on their level, they have now this power move where when they went to CW, they were like, okay, we want an open contract. We want to be able to do, what we want to do. You do what you want to do. You hold this show on your channel.
Mm.
That's why NWA is still allowed to be on that channel. But we all know NWA and WWE on the same channel. Who is going to watch NWA?
Sure, no, I understand that.
So they're asking for the same thing from Warner Brothers, but Warner Brothers is like, no, we want you to be exclusive to us. And they're like, no, because they want that one on one where it's really gonna look bad when
mm,
one goes down. And that's what the problem is. If you go ahead against New Japan one on one, how does that do? Because they already are. I would I put them on seeing stars because they're not getting the recognition that they should be, and
mm,
only people notice them and the people around them when they come to the states and wrestle named named people in indie companies or they go to a big company. That's the only time they really get any recognition.
mm.
So most of the time, people will watch them on Forbidden Door, love their work, but they won't go and take time to watch them outside of that. And that's why I feel like shows like ours, pinpointing who these people are, where they came from, is a good entry to get people to start watching it. I don't want that to go away. It has so much history. That's the argument I had about this whole Eddie Kingston putting up the belt. It irks me into my soul that this belt is going to just melt into something else. And it has the potential of never coming back to be what it was.
No, I mean, look, I could definitely understand your point of view. Um, I think that from Naito's standpoint, when he was talking about WWE and how they were losing and how New Japan has been losing their mainland stars, not the Gaijins, not the Will Ospreys and the
Yeah.
Kenny Omegas of the world. He was talking about Nakamura, and then years prior, he had touched on the look that Muda had at WCW, even though I thought it was a good one, but in the late '90s was worse than what Muda did in the early '90s and things of that nature. What WWE did to Kushida and stuff like that. So he was talking about that specifically. He didn't touch on AEW at all because Naito's relationship with some of the AEW talent is really, really good at the end of the day because of their working relationship and things of that nature. And I don't think he feels that way about AEW regardless. Um, with that being said, um, over the weekend as well, there was a big power move by the Japanese wrestling companies. They came together. They basically formed a Japanese wrestling union between the nine major Japanese wrestling companies, and they are basically banding together so they can keep the WWE out of Japan. So that's a big time move
Yeah.
for Japan and their wrestling scene as well, and hopefully with the bigger Japanese companies, that being New Japan, All Japan, Noah, DDT, um, Tokyo Joshi Pro, Stardom for the ladies as well, um, and a few others. With that particular alliance with the Japanese wrestling companies, hopefully, my hope is that we'll see uh, a a bigger Forbidden Door. Not just New Japan people, but folks from All Japan as well, and Noah and things of that nature for future shows to come. Being that Tony is one to collaborate with other companies, so that's that. Tony's also looking to collaborate with Rev Pro in the future. So, um, for all intents and purposes, signing some of the major talent in AEW still allows them to do other dates with other companies. So there is a vested interest in just to grow the wrestling landscape as a whole, which just does everybody better anyways. Because if everybody else gets more exposure, more eyes on that particular product, the more money those other companies can make, the better off non-major contracted talent will be financially. So
And
that
that's
takes away.
why my thing about it was Tony has not. It's always the excitement in the beginning, and then it goes downhill. Nobody really gets that steady hot fire like moment, and it's like I want. I feel like he's over. Like he's too busy. He got too much going on his plate, and a lot of things fall by the wayside. Like the the switchblade I knew in New Japan is not the switchblade I saw after he first came in. And
True.
then it went down. Now it's going up. Then it went down again. And so I want that same type of energy, and especially when it comes to the women, because the women is horrible. I watch it every week sometimes, and I'm like, why is this on my TV? Ladies and gentlemen, if you know me, I am a Stardom fan and I love Mariah May. I flagged that I was out here just, Mariah May, come on, let's get her. She goes, and now she's doing this Mickey James thing when she's supposed to be like, I'm in love with the person, and then they're going to turn against each other. Why is she not like coming in wrestling? Why is she not showing that she has power, that she has this potential to take down this champion instead of me doing this? Now I have to wait, what, 2, 3 weeks now? And then next week I'm supposed to see her wrestle? Like, come on. That frustrates me about the booking. Is that I know that there are potentials. I see it in other companies. I see Marina Shafir. I see a Keith Lee. I see other people go to GCW every weekend and give hell of a matches. But then I see them on TV and I don't see that same thing.
No, I mean it's a different perspective, right? Because I think a lot of the discourse online nowadays is what makes AEW different from WWE. What's the biggest takeaway and differentiation between the two, and it's always going to be AEW's in ring performances with their wrestlers and things of that nature, and they've gotten back to that since they launched the C2, even though they've also been intertwining good storytelling and good storylines for their wrestlers as well. Now they're not going to hit a home run 100% of the time. That's the reality of the situation. But I think in the last, at least over the weekend, they hit it out of the park with the ladies, because that freaking street fight with Statlander and Willow Nightingale,
You know
giving
what?
props
We
to
talked
Pulp
about
Fiction.
that because Saturday is Black Girl Magic when me,
Mm.
CM, and Anika do collision. And we're like, every street fight they've had with the women is good.
No, it's been
It's
good. It's
out when
been
you
real
step
good.
outside of the box.
Hmm. It's been real good, and they did a tremendous job. Shouts to Mercedes Martinez and Diamante on the other end of that particular street fight as well. Like I said, Athena, and Billy Starks, they killed it for their match on ROH as well. So and right now Mariah May is playing a character. They're trying to get her ingratiated with the fans. This whole All About Eve thing, where she's gonna eventually face off with Tony Storm. People like it's been hinted at, right? Renee's been asking her, "Oh, when are you have your first match? When are you gonna have your first match?" Her first match is gonna be against Tony Storm. It's not gonna be against some random girl
You know what?
in the ring. You know what I'm saying?
CM
That's what
pointed
the weight
out
is
that
about.
this is the Mickey James. This is the update
It is, yeah,
version of
same thing,
Mickey
yes,
James.
yeah, same thing, yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
yeah, but the thing about it is, we saw that building week to week. We saw that, like, oh yeah, she has this obsession,
Mhm.
but she's strong. She's in ring. She's a good person, and also it became evident that she could beat her.
Yeah.
Now it's like we don't get to see unless you know Stardom. You don't know she has the ability in ring. I'm not saying she's the greatest,
No, no, no.
but
Yeah, yeah.
she is on a level to get up to the top.
I think what Tony was doing differently here is that Tony Khan, that is not Tony Storm. What Tony Khan's doing here is that he's giving her a big spotlight to debut. To be quite honest, she's been on camera, right? But in the ring, to have your first match be probably for for the AEW Women's Title against Toni Storm. That's a big deal. So, I think the trade off there, if they hit it at the right time, I think it'll be a good move for them. Seeing the return of Thunder Rosa over the freaking weekend, I love Thunder Rosa. I am a big Thunder Rosa fan. Thank
I
God
thought
she's
she wasn't
coming back.
coming back at a certain point, not because of injury, but because if
Right,
you follow Thunder
backstage
Rosa
shit.
like I do, she don't start doing music. So
Yeah,
it seemed like she was so in love and doing touring and singing, and she put her album out, and I was just like, she's just done at this point.
yeah, no, she's on her way back. Hopefully I think the women's I think 2024 is going to be a big year for the AEW women's division. Just because a lot of the ladies who haven't been spotlighted, who were spotlighted before as a Thunder Rosa, Britt Baker, the return of Our Lady, Jamie Hayter. She will be back in 2024, ladies and gentlemen. So look out for Jamie Hayter. She's been in the gym. She's been pressing it. She's been pressing it. So she'll be back. I think that those frontline ladies will be back on TV. Plus the stars that have been made in the later part of the year, like a Julia Hart. Now we have Sky Black. If you want to quote Nigel McGuinness,
Mhm.
those girls have their own little storyline going. I think what we might end up seeing, and I know AEW fans are going to get a little pissed off about this because of all the different women's tag team matches that have been going on. I think we're going to end up seeing AEW women's tag team championships coming forward in 2024. I get it. AEW's got too many titles. It is what it is, but I think that's the way that we're leaning.
It's not the too many titles. It's the fact that you can't book women correctly. That's my major issue. Like
I think
I
they
shouldn't
turned it
have
around.
just. It seems like stuff is moshed together. My thing about it is, if even going back to when Jade was there, my thing about it is, if Mariah May gets a title shot, my thing about it is, you couldn't give Jade a title shot. What was the reason? You
Because Jay's
couldn't
not that Jay's not
have.
that good in the ring. That's I'm gonna die on that hill, regardless of the fact. And they're getting her
Yeah.
ready at the PC because she's gonna be a big star because
But
she's got
we've
the
seen
looks.
a lot of people get shots and chances and matches and in
And
big spots that they shouldn't have. First of all,
right,
uh, Sriracha, as we call her on the channel, Sriracha, because she burned going down. Sriracha is should have never, ever, ever held that title, and you gave it to her. It's like, at what point do you understand that you should? Okay, it's one thing to pop pop the fans because she's in her hometown,
right.
but you let her hold it, even though you knew who she was when you gave it to her.
I mean, at the end of the day, she's. I mean, look, she's been in the business for a long period of time, and she knows her way around the ring. But the I think what they get away from sometimes is um folks' ability to readapt, right? Because she had been out of the ring for many years. So you got to give her a lot more reps than what she got before the whole AEW All In show. I agree with that necessarily. I can't get away with that. I was never her biggest fan when she was in WWE. If I'm being honest, from a stylistic in ring standpoint, um, but I think she's done decent work from a character perspective on AEW TV. The in ring is like to me, like I said, the in ring's always been a lackluster to me, but it works for other people. So that is what that is there. But to bring it all home with the ladies, hopefully 2024 is going to be a bigger, better year for the ladies on AEW. I think they're going in the right direction, at least from what's
Yeah,
been going on the last month and a half or so. I think that Tony Storm's gimmick is terrific. No matter how many people say that they're already growing tired of the gimmick, folks have no patience nowadays. I think I'm a lot like Simon Miller in the sense of I have fun with my pro wrestling. I don't take it too seriously. If it makes me laugh, it makes me laugh. If it gives me enjoyment, it gives me enjoyment. I don't think of, oh, can we get to the next thing? Like, no, like have me sink my teeth into something so that I can think better of it after it's over. right? What they did with Tony Storm over the weekend with her on commentary, I thought was hilarious. but, but that's
Yeah,
character
some
building,
things work out fine. I think sometimes Tony Khan at this
right?
doesn't know when to stop.
Stop.
That
Right.
whole MJF
Mhm.
Warlow thing was too long. And then once we got there, it was like, what do we
Yeah.
do?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
and it's been a lot of things. Like for instance, my big gripe: why are we not settling the whole Hangman Bucks Omega thing, even before he's out? Like, why do we handle that? Because we know the Bucks let him get buckshot. He left on injury, came back, and we never did pick that up. We was just like, you knew he was leaving when you did this angle. Why didn't you pick it back up? It's like we forgot about it. On BTE, they hinted at it all the time about like, we're gonna tell Kenny. That's what the Dark Order kept saying to the Bucks. We're gonna tell Kenny, we're gonna tell Kenny. That was a BTE joke, but you
Mhm.
did that on live TV every week. We should have gotten something from it. We didn't get
No,
anything from it.
he doesn't. Sometimes he doesn't know how to close the loop on certain stories and certain things that are going on. But a lot of the stuff is also very um disconnected, right? Because even though AEW is all elite wrestling, not everybody watches being the elite. So a lot of the stuff does get lost in translation in that sense. So that's a point that people need to land on in that particular regard. And we'll see what happens. I don't harp too much on the negative just because like Tony Khan said over the weekend during the scrum, there's enough of it to go around when it comes to AEW. It just feels like folks want to see them fail. And there's no way that the WWE is as hot as it is right now without AEW being in the landscape. That's
I
one
think
thing.
it's not that they want to see you fail. I think for me, it's more like when I have negative criticisms,
Mhm.
I went wholeheartedly on the ideal you sold me.
Mm.
Now I am seeing, even your own wrestlers are now saying, I do not see that vision you initially gave me as a wrestler or gave these people. And I'm beginning to see the same thing. Like, you're invited everybody. This is not gonna be like a WWE reunion and all the rest of this. You gonna push new people, but I'm not seeing anybody new hovering at the top that I didn't see before. I want to
Mm.
see new people. I appreciate Kyle Fletcher winning in ROH because that's a new face to people. We know him in New Japan, but most people don't know him. So I appreciate it, but you don't get that a lot. I
Mm.
don't know how many times I have to look at OC win a match by doing the same thing, get beat down to come back up. It's like we want to turn him heel, do something. I have been championing Willow to go heel, really hard. This whole happiness thing gets on my ever living nerves. I'm like, why are you so happy all the time? Like she will literally get beat down, jump up and be happy. I'm tired.
I mean, I fair point. Fair point. I just feel like, for all intents and purposes, that is her personality. To be quite honest, she's a lovely, lovely girl. So it is what
Ugh.
it is. But
It's like,
it's fair from a wrestling character standpoint. It's fair. You want to see them do something different. I get that. I respect that. I want to see
yeah,
different things. Look, MJF being at the top and the majority of all these different wrestlers being now surrounding the AEW championship, I think is a good thing because they took a page out of the Roman Reigns book, right? Which
yes,
is put everyone in a match with Roman Reigns to see if Roman Reigns can elevate them and keep them around the top of the card. So they're doing that with MJF necessarily. Has it worked to its totality? Not necessarily. Um, They've been good bits here and there. I think the Samoa Joe stuff has been strong. The Adam Page stuff in the last 2 weeks, that's been strong. I think they dropped the ball a bit with the Jay White stuff. The Wardlow stuff, I think, is to your point, Dolores. I think the Wardlow stuff is overdone, even with the way that they're doing it now. They need to do something different with Wardlow. That's just my personal opinion. But AJF's been trying to, what is the rising tides lifts all ships or whatever the case is. They've been trying to use that particular metaphor with MJF, and it hasn't hit 100%. But that's been AEW's thing. They haven't hit 100% of the time, and they're not going to, because the WWE was in the doldrums for years before AEW came into town. So at the
Yeah.
end of the day, I think
And
that
WWE, I mean, if you're a true wrestling fan, you crap on WWE and their port. I mean, I've gotten on off and not and screamed about the first a lot of the stuff they do over there. But it's just that when you have this idea and you see the potential from the beginning, and then now you don't see that same product, they're trying to change, and I give them credit for that. But things like Warlord, I was like, first of all, once he opened his mouth, it was over for me at that point. I'm like, you just don't talk ever again. 'Cause you sound like you uncomfortable. I am uncomfortable. Give him a manager. Give him somebody. I can see why during that time MJF did most of the talking,
right, yeah, yeah.
and so now he looks like a jacked up uh, Chad Gable, and I don't like this. I don't like this.
It's. I think the perspective from a macro standpoint is that AEW doesn't have a PC, right? They don't have a performance center, so a lot of these guys they're learning on the fly, they're learning on the job.
When they
To
used to have a PC, they used
Not
to have the Nightmare
necessarily.
Factory.
No, that's not a
They had the
PC.
Nightmare
That's
Factory where they were getting a lot of workers
yeah.
from, and then
They would get
they were training people a little bit
mm,
there.
mm-mm, mm-mm,
And
mm-mm.
so has a lot of good people there. Dustin and his training has a lot of good people there. And
I,
I've seen even on his socials, a lot of wrestlers go and train with at his, not at his version of the Nightmare Factory. They have people there who can do it. It's just that they don't utilize these people. You have Brian Danielson who holds classes, who do things. That's something that should be mandatory. For
I,
some wrestlers.
I,
That
I,
shouldn't be an option.
I agree with you, but I think it's more or less the scheduling part of it, right? Because a lot of these guys are winding, a lot of the older guys are winding down their careers. They don't want to be hands on every day. So that I think that has a lot to do with that. But I think at the end of the day, I think that to jump back into everything else that we were talking about, because we went down the rabbit hole with AEW, ROH, and everything else in between. Um, I think 2024 should be a better year. After this C2, I wonder how AEW TV is going to look like. I wonder what ROH TV is going to look like. I wonder what the TV deals are going to look like at this point. Everybody's got to do the due diligence. Both Warner Brothers and AEW on that particular front. To answer something that ALW asked earlier, he said, "How do you think Japanese wrestling company merger will affect the Japanese wrestling landscape?" I think it's a big deal because if everything goes the way that it's supposed to go, you'll see Japanese wrestling not only on Abema TV, but you'll also see it on Samurai TV. You'll also see it on Asahi TV. So the Japanese conglomerate, the unification now, the Japanese wrestling companies is just going to be a bigger deal. It's going to be it's basically just going to put a bigger spotlight on all the different Japanese wrestling companies and elevate everybody at the same time. That's the hope, at least. So hopefully that works out for everybody in Japan, and they can continue to create their stars across all the different wrestling promotions. As a wrestling fan, I think that we got it good right now, and for all intents and purposes, that's why I tend to not really shit on overall product or an overall company. It's just more or less like, all right, I always pick out whatever's good in whatever's good to me and whatever's going on in a particular wrestling company.
Yeah.
So as of right now, I've been feeling a little uncomfortable with New Japan with the way that they're walking into Wrestle Kingdom. But it's for the common sense stuff, right? No one knows where Okada's
Yeah.
going. We know Will's leaving. This David Finlay stuff has not been working at the end of the day.
Yeah.
The tag team, the World Tag League tournament left a lot to be desired for folks, because now it's like, well, we're going to see this match for the third time at the end of the day, the match that's going to be going on at Wrestle Kingdom. So it is there at the end, yeah, like I was saying, it leaves a lot to be desired. It's not their best card so far, but
Mhm.
um, hopefully the in ring product is a banger as we expect it to be, and we enjoy the show anyways. Me talking about Wrestle Kingdom,
Yeah,
I think
I'm
is more
looking
than
forward
interesting.
to like the rest of the pay per view. Well, WWE doesn't have one. I think AEW has Worlds End.
Mhm.
But ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna speed through because we had a good conversation because it's the end of the year. Road to Tokyo Dome has another night. It is the 22nd. We went over the 21st. Uh, again, Masked Horse and Masked Bolton face Toriano and Yo this time. We have Tamahiro Ishii versus Newman, Bishamon versus Youngblood. We have El Desperado and Master Wado versus Los Ingobernables de Japón. We have Drilla Maloney versus Akira, TJP versus Clark Connors, Hiroshi Tanahashi and Kazuchika Okada versus TMDK, Los Ingobernables de Japón versus Just Five Guys. That is the last day of those matches. Anything you want to see from day two?
Um, no, because
I was about to say none of them
and
excited me whatsoever.
it so the
I
thing
think the
is,
TJP card clowners might be good, but other than that,
yeah, nah, man. I'll wait for the tag match on Wrestle Kingdom. I'm just for me when it be when with the Road 2 shows, and like I always say, I understand the purpose behind them. Always want the good brothers to get paid and make their money. Don't get it twisted. It's just too many tag matches for me, and a lot of the stuff doesn't
yeah,
have any real weight to it. A lot of these matches, and sometimes they do build towards the story on the Road 2 shows, but I think we've had enough of it at this point, especially coming off the World Tag League. It's like, all right, we know how to we know where this is gonna go. You know what I'm saying? So it's like,
yeah.
might as well just get everybody off until freaking Wrestle Kingdom. You know what I'm saying? That's my opinion. But
Ladies and gentlemen, this leads us into the new year. Happy New Year, because we're at Wrestle Kingdom, ladies and gentlemen. They do have the matches up as of now. For the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team title, we have the Bullet Club, Clark Connors and Drilla Maloney versus Catch 22, Francisco Akira and TJP. We have for the IWGP Tag Team title, slash New Japan Strong Open Weight title. We have Big Shimon versus Gorillas of Destiny. We have for the Neverweight Open title match, Shingo Takagi versus Tamatonga. For the New Japan World Television title match, Zack Sabre Jr. versus Tanahashi. For the IWGP Global Heavyweight title, which is vacant, John Moxley versus David Finlay versus Will Ospreay. For the IWGP Junior Heavyweight title match, Hiromu Takahashi versus El Desperado. Brian Danielson versus Kazuchika Okada. And for the IWGP World Heavyweight title match, Sonata versus Tetsu Naito. Naito, sorry. I have two or three matches on this. I'm ready.
okay.
Do you have
So
any matches, Jay?
yeah, look, at the end of the day, even though the build has been lukewarm for me, like I'm still looking forward to what today's the 18th, right? So at least the next 2 to 3 weeks of some sort of a build between Brian Danielson and Kazuchika Okada, between the Road 2 shows and maybe Dynamite or Collision. So hopefully that happens at the end of the day. Um, what else? I mean, the main event at the end of the day is very important to me. I feel like if they don't have a tremendous match inside the ring, Sonata and Naito, that is, um,
Hmm.
even though Naito's not Naito, even though Sonata's reign hasn't been great, um, he can at least hang his hat on. Okay, I had a stellar Wrestle Kingdom outing. You know what I'm saying? So it's like,
Yeah.
give me at least that before you lose this IWGP World Heavyweight Championship, because Naito does have to finish the story. That's what this whole thing has been about. Naito getting to the top and having his Wrestle Kingdom moment and doing the roll call. Hopefully, he is able to do that and he gets the win there. Um, to AOW's point, I think Bishamon retains um, for the tag belt match there as well. Um, I feel like Catch 2-2 will beat the War Dogs to get back those IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Championships. Um, Even though I'm one of the bigger Shingo Takagi fans, I don't really care much for the Shingo versus Tamatanga match. But I feel like they'll deliver the goods. It'll be a good match, and Shingo should retain, in my estimation. The three-way match I said earlier, way before, weeks ago, maybe a month ago at this point, that I felt like David Finlay was going to win this match by default because Will is leaving. But um, but being that Will is still going to be able to do dates between AEW and New Japan, that's a little bit more up in the air for me at this point. Being that John Moxley was an AEW wrestler and he held the that particular iteration of the belt with his new global belt. You know, if Will still has the belt going in or leaving the match, should I say? I don't think that's a big deal because they as in New Japan have failed David Finlay as the leader of the Bullet Club. So he shouldn't be the leader of that Bullet Club. He doesn't fit the mold. And for him to be that champion of this new grand global heavyweight championship,
Yeah.
just makes no sense, especially with the kind of year and that Will has had and how he's been carrying the New Japan flag, and now he's going to carry the AEW flag. He's going to carry that global flag at the end of the day. So we'll see how it goes down there. Um, the Never Openweight Tag Team Championship matches on the Road 2 show, so it's not on Wrestle Kingdom or whatever. So and the Rambo is always fun. Got to mention the Rambo.
Yeah.
That's going to be on the pre-show. So the Rambo is always fun. Always look forward to the Rambo. So yeah, the Wrestle Kingdom should be a good show. It's just that the hype train for Wrestle Kingdom this year hasn't been um
It's hot. Yeah.
fast.
Ladies and gentlemen, there are no matches listed, but when we come back, we will review New Year's Dash.
Mhm.
Okay? That is the end of New Japan. I am sad. I am sad. Okay, again, when we come back, we're gonna do Year's Dash. But now we're on to the BX of the BX, GCW. Okay, I am going to review a few shows with you. We are going to start off with the holiday special. Yes, they get it crunk for the holiday. We have John Wayne Murdoch versus Jordan Oliver, Mike Bailey versus Jimmy Lloyd, Joey Janela versus Mathers, and then for the GCW World title, we have Blake Christian, the champ, versus Santa Claus. Santa going down today.
So quick question, because over the weekend we got to see the return of the hardcore legend in Santa Claus getup during an indie show. Is that what's going to go down? will we be watching a match between the Mickles and Blake Christian? Is that what's going to go down, Dolores?
I no,
Okay.
most likely it's gonna be some other weird. Like, listen, they've had so many people, like old ECW people, come up. I Little Guido has wrestled. Listen, Little Guido, he looks better than he did in ECW. I'm like, and his wrestling has gotten better. So, Little Guido, shouts to you. Just Incredible, stay at home. Okay, stay at home. A lot of these people need to stay at home. Okay, uh, don't make a comeback. I wouldn't be surprised. I don't know who they might have as Santa Claus, but it's gonna be weird. Uh, ladies and gentlemen, for the Nick Gage Invitational 8, there are no matches listed, so we're gonna bleed right on through that. For the show GCW, the Aftermath on the 31st, there are matches listed. It's the Do or Die Rumble match. Don't have anybody listed so far. Lisa Sierra, I think that's how you pronounce it, because I listened to it 3 times. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, I listened to stuff 4 times. And the third time, I'm like, I got it. Fourth time, I'm like, I'm secure. I get up here, it's gone. Charlie versus Charlie Evans. And then we have the death match. June Kasai versus Nick Gage. That's what I'm waiting on. That is exactly what I'm waiting on. And then, ladies and gentlemen, there's a date on the 31st where GCW works with JCW, but there is no matches listed for that period. So, ladies and gentlemen, that ends our preview. We're gonna have a lot to come back to. Me and J News, we're gonna be last minute study mates because we can't watch this stuff all live. We got a life. Uh, but what I do want to say to you is we're not gonna go over the week of Workers Wrestling Network because we're not gonna be me and J News ain't gonna be here after the day. We clocking out, we leaving, okay? But the rest of Workers Wrestling Network don't clock out till tomorrow. So we do want to say, please click the link in the chat, support the wrestling club. Thank you so much for those who have donated. Make sure you check out Wildfire Perry because they are on the road to WrestleMania. Please give these kids a once in a lifetime moment. Ladies and gentlemen, if you want to go back and catch the Cookout podcast, you can catch it on Amazon Music, YouTube Audio, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google Podcast, Radio Republic. Ladies and gentlemen, we are on all social medias: Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, Twitter, Discord, Threads, Instagram, and TikTok. You can catch the retro watch alongs where they watch old matches. Sammy and ALW has one, and then the group had one for Sammy's birthday. Uh, the crew is going to be out after tomorrow. Me and J News out today, and me and J News got a special thing to say to you. Happy holidays, everyone! Happy holidays! And guess what? Happy New Year! May you have a splendid 2024 from your girl Dolores and J News. Okay. Also, the Horsies last night, night 2, is happening tomorrow, 10:30 p.m. on YouTube, Workhouse Wrestling Network. Make sure you see Sammy, ALW, CM, and Anika talk about their favorite matches, people, all on the Horsey Awards. Okay, 2nd of January they'll be back with the draft, so you can catch Sammy, ALW, Anika, and CM all doing the draft. They'll be working together for the greater good of this wrestling community. Also, ladies and gentlemen, we push back Workhorse Wrestling Hall of Fame to April 2nd. That is the week of the actual WWE Hall of Fame. So come enjoy in April this. Now, ladies and gentlemen, two things because this great, I'm going to take myself off.
Dolores. Think. Wait.
Can you
Okay.
hear me?
No, I couldn't hear you once you came.
Oh,
Once you went on screen, I couldn't hear you anymore.
oh, I thought I had took it off. I was like, let's see. Let's see if you.
No, you went off again, but it's okay. I know I know I'm supposed to do the whole spotlight thing. So I'll do it like this real quick. Spotlight wrestler of the week for me comes off the heels of one of his best matches of his career. This feud that he and Will Ospreay have had over at Rev Pro, and even in between in New Japan. My spotlight wrestler this week is Gabriel Kidd. Gabe Kidd, who I've been watching since he was 16 years old. Uh, I man, listen, he's doing some of the best character work I have ever seen any wrestler do on any platform, on any company. What him and Will were able to do via social media first last week or 2 weeks ago, should I say, when they had their Instagram live spat between the two of them, where they were basically just threatening each other and cursing each other out and stuff like that. That hinted towards a real personal feud. And then over the weekend before the show on the 16th, they were at a meet and greet. They were doing a fan signing, and Will Ospreay went to that particular meet and greet, and he busted Gabe Kidd up at the meet and greet. And Gabe Kidd got his shots in. Don't get it twisted, but they may be had to me one of the, if not most personally violent, non-bloody feuds I've seen done in a very short span of time between Gabe Kidd and Will Ospreay. Just talking about their particular match. The match was fantastic between Gabe Kidd and Will Ospreay on Saturday on the Rev Pro show. Another referee stoppage for Will Ospreay, where he just too many elbows to the back of Gabe Kidd's head. Couldn't do couldn't do anything with it, man. Couldn't beat Will Ospreay. But Gabriel Kidd, man, with his character work, his in-ring work, he's always been a good tactile technician in the ring, and him just growing up in front of our eyes. For those of us who just have loved indie wrestling from a global standpoint, and been able to watch him on WCPW a couple of years ago, and Ref Pro, and some of the stuff that he's done between the other UK indies and stuff like that, and obviously his turn in New Japan. The sky's the limit for freaking Gabriel Kidd, man. I see that dude as a future heavyweight champion, and if it wasn't for the fact that Gato made David Finlay the leader of the Bullet Club, if they really wanted to have a Bullet Club leader who was really unhinged, they'd give it to Gabe. And that's my take on it. Either Gabe or Clark Connors, one of the two. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
Gabe has the lead right now for me in my eyes, and I think Gabe has always been a tremendous talent. Much like Chris Charlton has always said, he's a generational talent. Hyperbole or not, I think the dude has a lot of talent, and I can't wait to see what he does for the rest of his wrestling future. I hope that he's able to get some love on the Western side of things. Him coming to the U.S., I think, would be a good deal for him if he's able to. His
Yeah, he did some matches in GCW lately.
Okay, I wasn't aware of that. So, um, I think at the end of the day, him making some noise in America, in the Western world, I think would be a pretty cool thing. So hopefully we'll be able to see him on TV wrestling sometime soon. Maybe ROH, maybe AEW. Maybe get a bigger spotlight in GCW matches. Who knows? but I think that Gabe can do some tremendous work, and I wanted to spotlight him this week, especially after uh, the feud and match that he had with Will Ospreay. Bright future ahead for the one and only Gabe Kidd.
Ladies and gentlemen, me and J News, we've been together for a short period of time and we've had spotlights. So to go over all our spotlights, I started off with our guest at the cookout, Santana Jackson. And then J News chose Yuya Uramura. Okay?
Mhm.
I had Mike Bailey. And then J News had Ren Narita.
Mhm.
Uh, my good brother ARW helped me pick my choice last week, Jordan Oliver. And then today, our last for 2023, Gay Kid. So, as we normally do, now that I done got my voice back, back again, uh, I'm going to give time to my brother J News to talk about his outside endeavors.
Oh yeah, thank you, Dolores. As usual, folks here plugging away. John L, your friendly neighborhood moviegoer is I. That is my handle, username, whatever you want to call it, on X and Instagram and TikTok and Facebook. I have a podcast in which I do individual movie reviews for movies. The my latest two reviews are on I believe it was the Hunger Games movie. And I also did the review for, I'll mention to you what the other one was. No, I didn't do that. Where am I here? Downloads. And it was the Hunger Games, and I think it was Godzilla minus one. So those two there. So I still have a couple of more movies to go. Over while I'm in San Antonio, I'll probably record episodes for the new Hayao Miyazaki film, The Boy and the Heron. I still have to do the Poor Things movie that stars Emma Stone. I still have to do the review on that. I'll do my review on the Iron Claw movie as well. And I have some stuff that I had pre-recorded a couple of months ago that is uh, due out now because the movies are hitting theaters now, be that Ferrari and Maestro. So check those out. You can always check me out on any podcast platform that there is, be it Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and whatever it is that you guys use to listen to podcasts. So my reviews are on there. So yeah, definitely. Thank you to the Workhorse Network for letting me plug my stuff. Appreciate you, Dolores, for letting me do that.
No, I appreciate you taking time out every Monday to come hang out with me. It's been so much fun, ladies and gentlemen. Listen, there might be some slight changes at the beginning of the year. We're gonna see, but make sure you're here to see everything Workers Wrestling Network has. We might have a new background. We might have new, extra hoes. We might be doing a lot of things. Okay, so make sure you're here. Uh, let's see. Yes, ALW says best men and women's wrestlers is tomorrow night.
Mm.
Nope, nope. Me and Jay News come back on the 8th. That's my tag partner in this situation. We'll be back on the 8th, okay? I think Jay News are here out of town on the 2nd. They come back on the 2nd.
Yeah. On the second, I'm still out of town, so I get back on the third. So yeah. Has Osprey had a bad
Thank
match this
you.
2 years? No, he hasn't had a bad match in the last 2 years. ALW. That's a rhetorical question.
Yeah, and he a hater from the Himalayas. That's what it is. Again, ladies and gentlemen, happy holidays from J News and myself. And that we hope you have a happy new year and may your new year be splendid in 2024.
Indeed,
So,
I
ladies
agree.
and gentlemen, I can't tell you where we're going to go and what we're going to do, but I can tell you it's time for me to cut the lights out, okay? For 2023, we are cutting the lights out. So until then, ladies and gentlemen, we want to tell you peace.